Your host, LBONGO. LBONGO. Tell us who you are, what your name is, and what you do.
Yeah. My name is Azariah Brown. I am a photographer, director, stuntman, cinematographer, what's- musician, so
Okay.
and a writer.
Keep going, man. Just keep naming shit.
Uh, I'm a little bit of artist as well, but yeah, been directing now, so that's been fun. It's been a lot of fun, honestly.
Tell me a little bit about that. What do you like about directing?
So it's really cool to kind of have a writer and producer kind of give you control over, their script and they trust you with that. I mean, that part's a lot, but I think it's really cool to be able to take, whatever vision they have and be able to make that into something. And it's really cool. I mean, I've been learning a lot too, and just being able to work with some pretty talented people, getting to see what works, what doesn't work. The project we're working on, it's called 15 Minutes. It's a sci-fi thriller, murder mystery, and I've been learning a lot. It's been kind of like every day. I feel like I encounter a challenge, but just being able to overcome that and try to figure out, okay, this ain't gonna work. How are we gonna do that? Let's switch gears here. Let's do this, and yeah, it's been fun. I get to play around and just. Uh, Especially having the actors be comfortable. That's something I wanted to make important is that they're make sure they're comfortable and you know and that helps bring the film to life. Because I mean, I feel like if you're uncomfortable, it just kind of makes things, you know, you can see it.
Right. You can see it. So you're shooting like movies?
Yeah. So yeah, this one is my first. This is actually my first movie. I'm doing. But yeah, shooting movies. The other stuff I've been shooting before has been shorts. I wrote a Miles Morales Spider-Man short that I've been trying to work on, and I had to put that on pause. But this is the first project I've been able to direct that. Going to be finishing.
Okay. So in this film, are you only directing or you also jumping in front of the camera as a stunt guy?
I am directing, but I'm also in the film. I'm a support. I'm kind of like a side character. No stunts in this one for me, but I do get to do a little bit of acting, so that's a bit fun and new for me. I'm not usually um acting, but it's really I would say that's probably a challenge for me. I'm not used to being on the other end of the camera, like kind of talking and um having to act in a way. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Like
fun.
I know some stunt guys. And when I'm watching a movie and I see them, do the little acting like what you're talking about, they got a couple of lines before they
Yeah.
fight, right?
Yeah.
They got a couple of lines before the rock like knocks them in the face, right?
Yep.
It's a couple of lines before they about to take a hit, right? So whenever I see them, I'm going, oh, hey, it's about to be a fight scene, you know? It's a fight scene. I see CC, a good friend of mine, right? So, okay, so stunt work
Yes.
is what you do primarily, but right now you're like, hey, I'm gonna do some directing, I'll do a little bit of acting, but
Yeah.
primarily it's stunt work when you're in front of the camera.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Primarily stunt work. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just said okay.
Um, Besides doing that, I do stage work. I'm a video tech for PRG, so I do that on the side of my main usually. But the stunt work stuff, I'm usually in front of camera. Right now, I get with some friends of mine. One of the guys, his name is Keo, very talented filmmaker. He did stunts way back in the day, and he's kind of put together this kind of group of stunt guys and me and a couple other people, and we get a chance to film stuff and just do some really cool fight scenes. I got to work with some pretty awesome people. I got to do a little stunt short with one of the stunt guys from John Wick 2. and that was exciting. I didn't really know until I want to say the second or third shot we were doing, and they told me that. I was like, "What?" But it was really fun. It's a challenge. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of repetition. You have to be able to do the same action multiple times. Sometimes you're doing that fall like 50 times, but I mean, once you finish it and get to see like the product at the end, it's amazing.
Yeah, man. I think what you guys do is pretty awesome, actually. So okay, so there's John Wick 2, right?
Yeah.
And who are you, stunt doubling for? Are you in there for
Oh,
Keanu?
no, sorry.
Hold
I
on.
wasn't.
Hold on, let
Sorry.
me say it again.
No, I wasn't in it. That'll be great. I would love to be in a John Wick movie. It wasn't
Okay.
me. Just one of the guys I got a chance to kind of. We did a little cool like fight stunt short, and I got a chance to do one
Okay.
with one of the guys from it. Uh,
Okay.
he he was one of the
So
guys
hold
that was
on. Hold
fighting.
on.
Oh, go
Cut.
ahead.
Cut.
Yeah.
You're a terrible fucking actor. Cut. I need to say this again so it's clear. Okay. And then you
So
respond. All right.
okay,
The show is live, but it's not live. You know what I'm saying?
okay,
All right. Here we go. I'm gonna do it without laughing. I started laughing. Okay. You ready?
yeah.
So stunt double. You're doing it on John Wick 2, you said?
No. I had a friend of mine that I was working with. One of the guys I worked with was in John Wick 2.
Okay, he was. He
Yeah, he
was.
was. Yeah.
Okay. Because I thought you said, yeah, I was doing stunt doubling for John Wick 2. And I was going to ask you, so who are you stunt doubling for? Keanu?
Hey, that would be great. I mean, I look just like him, right?
Well, the stunt guy doesn't really have to look like the guy,
Right.
right?
I mean, yeah, yeah. I would love to be in a John Wick movie. That'd be great.
Yeah, man. So you was working with him. He was stunt doubling in John Wick 2, right?
Right.
And he was just helping you coordinate what you're doing on your project currently.
Yes.
Okay, I understand now.
He and I learned a lot. I mean, like, and it wasn't just him. I got a chance to work with some other talented people, and you know, uh, I learned the whole process. I also learned if a bunch of stunt guys go like, "Hey, we're gonna get together to do something small," it's probably gonna be a lot bigger than you think, you know. Um, and I kind of would mentally prepare myself for that, and I ended up getting really into it, and that pushed me kind of more towards doing uh, movies and acting. And uh, there's a big project that I'm actually going to be working on after this current project I'm working on right now. And this one's going to be action oriented. It's going to be a boxing movie.
Okay. So who are you in this film doubling for? The primary guy or the guys that he's fighting?
So this one, I'm actually going to be acting in it. So I am going to be actually like fighting, but I'm going to be the main boxer in this film.
Okay.
And it's going to tell the story of, someone that he kind of grew up having a lot of issues, and he had a lot of people telling him he can't do it. And it's kind of that I want to put in that mindset that people will tell you you can't do something and stuff like that. But I think don't listen to those people. I believe once you put everything into it that you want to do, you can do that. You can do what you set your mind to. And I want to show that in the film. And that's the whole, idea. The premise of the film is kind of doing that. Just I want, my character wants to be the best. He wants to prove to people that he's not that person he was, and he's gonna work hard, and I want to show that.
Yeah, and proving that to himself,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
He has to show himself that he's matured and changed. And others are seeing the results of that.
Right.
Right. Yeah, that sounds very interesting, man. Definitely come back on the show and promote that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I think that'd be
I,
great. Um, with stunt work, I had a couple of scenarios. When I was on Star Trek, right? There was a guy. you know, the main character grabs me and throws me across the room, right? And I did the stunt. Did I do the stunt? I did that stunt.
You did that one?
I'm trying to think which stunts I did and which ones I let the actors do. I think I did that one. Okay, I think I did that one, right? So he grabs me and throws me across the room, right? And takes so because I drive the ship. On Star Trek, I drive the ship, right? So I'm driving the
Okay.
Klingon ship. Yeah, I'm driving the Klingon ship. And my mom saw it and she's like, why'd you let that guy throw you like that? I said, Mom, it's TV. It's acting. It's fake. I would normally would beat that dude's ass, but it wasn't me. It was a Klingon, you know.
Right.
But it's just funny how people just take everything so as real. You know what I'm saying? When you're in movies and stuff. Um, and there was another time that I had a stunt guy, right? And he looked like you. Like he looked nothing like me, right? Right. He was
Yeah.
shorter than me. He was dark skinned, and I was like, how's this guy gonna be my stunt double? Right. And they're like, look, we'll figure it out. He's a pro. He knows what to do. So what he did, I'm like grabbing this guy fight scene, whatever, right? What he did was he ducked his head so you couldn't see. You guys have all these techniques, right? So he
Yeah.
ducked his head so you couldn't really see him, but you could. You know what I'm saying? We had on the same clothes. And it was a pro. It was a pro move. He was
Yeah.
great. He was great because I was like, wow, he covered all the things that will show the difference in us. And he tackles the guy, and they cut all around it and everything. I mean, I knew it wasn't me, but if you look at it, it's hard to tell. So
That's definitely some skill.
yeah, I just think what you guys do is amazing, man. You're risking your life, you know, in a lot of these stunts. Why do you put everything on the line?
Everybody has their reasons. I kind of I enjoy it. I think, me personally, I grew up watching, a lot of Jackie Chan and a lot of those, and as entertaining as it was, I thought it'd be really fun just to be able to do that. And yeah, it's dangerous, but I think, creating things that people enjoy, and yeah, I may not be that person in the screen. They may not know it's me, but I think it's just really cool to be like, I was able to help that make that happen. And I love movies in general. They change people's lives. And to be a part of that, I think that's something that would be, I think that's amazing.
You ever do a stunt that you was afraid of? I know CC once told me about a stunt he had to do in Hawaii and they wanted him to jump off a cliff, right? And he said he was looking
Wow.
like, oh man, here we go, right? Right. And then
Oh
another
no.
stunt he was doing in one of those Fast and the Furious movies, he was like doubling for Tyrese, right? Like a crash scene or whatever. And he got beat up pretty bad. They had to send him to the hospital, right?
Oh my goodness.
And he said the only thing he was thinking about in the hospital is, oh man, I don't want to get fired.
Yeah, it sucks. It's like the minute if you break something like that, and they'll bring somebody else in. It's kind of like, oh, I gotta be careful at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna put you on the bench, right?
Yeah.
So Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, did you watch that film?
Yes, I love that film. I actually bought it. I love that film.
Because there
That
you have a stunt double, right?
right.
Telling y'all story.
Which I love that they did a uh, movie for that, because I was like, even what was that also other one, Fall Guy, same
Yeah,
thing. I
yeah.
love that they were getting kind of more movies showing that side of filmmaking.
Yeah, even Boogie Nights, Mark Wahlberg, he has
Yeah,
some stunt doubles. And he's talking about, he was embarrassed, like, oh man, people think I showed my penis in the movie, you know. But even that was a stunt double. You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah.
like, it's the nature of what we do, slide of the hand. I think it's great that you do that, man. I wish you much luck and success doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's like stunt stuff, man. I've worked with stunt guys, and it's some of you sort of like what they showed in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is you follow that actor. An actor will basically use you their whole career. And that's like one of the main things, that you're looking for is to get a client where he's like, well, yeah, always double for this person. And if they go on and become a star, it's like, oh yeah, I had a whole career, and had a whole career, which is what they were showing in the film.
I did a stunt class one time. They had a guy, one of the stunt, I can't remember, Arnold Chon. I did his stunt workshop, and it was really funny because he had mentioned he was like, "You could definitely stunt double for Kevin Hart," and I was like, "That would be good. That would be good." But he probably already has a stunt double.
Yeah, you'd be perfect for Kevin.
That's
How
the height
tall are
for
you?
it. So
How tall are you?
5'6",
Yeah,
5'6".
you're just, I think, a little bit taller than him, but you know they can fix that. They put
Right?
a lot of the short guys on like apple boxes, lifts in their shoes. It's all kind of tricks. You
It's
know,
totally right. Yeah.
and you're about his fit too. You know what I mean? You know, yeah, you definitely could do Kevin Hart. Um,
I wanted to do Michael B. Jordan, but I know he's tall, so
Michael B. Jordan. Well, he already has his stunt double. He played two guys in his last movie. He just
it's
plays
true.
himself. Yeah,
It is true.
he just plays himself. Did you see that
Fantastic
film?
though. I
Did you? Yeah,
absolutely.
he's great. Did you see Sinners?
Yeah, that was phenomenal. I'm proud of like the whole cat. They deserve everything that they got during the awards, and that was amazing. That movie. I remember I sat in theaters watching that, and I didn't know it was the first day that it came out when I went and saw it because I was following everything. But I had a friend of mine ask me, he's like, "Yeah," I was like, "Yeah, let's go do it." Amazing all the way through.
What did you love about that movie?
I the cinematography was beautiful, and I absolutely loved the actor. I thought Michael B. Jordan did a fantastic job, and the boy that was in it, the one that played the, I heard that was his first time
Yeah,
acting, right?
yeah, he was great. Yeah,
Phenomenal, and his voice was amazing. That whole scene where they're dancing and you have the different times going through, and you're seeing like music through like the years, and that was I thought that was amazing. Um, I didn't expect it to be, that kind of movie. I remember seeing the trailers and I'm just like, okay, what is this? But it's like really good. I know Michael B. Jordan's in it. I know it's gonna, and I was like, let's go see this movie. But it was phenomenal. I think it was brilliant. Um, the costume design too. And the more I've been doing stunts and act and just film in general, I've been appreciating more the art side of it as well, and just how everything comes together. And I watch movies differently because of that.
right. Yeah, my first experience of something like that was, I get a lot of screenings to go see films right before they're
Mhm.
released a lot of times, and you haven't seen any advertising, right? So you're seeing it firsthand. You don't know what's coming at you, right?
Right.
And for me, that was a great experience. It felt like reading a book. You don't know what's on the other side of the page. If you had already seen the trailers and everything. And I really enjoyed that experience. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, wow, I like this. I don't want to see any more previews. I don't want to see any more trailers. Right. I'm like, this is great because it's like, there's no anticipation of anything. I'm truly experiencing it the way they wrote it, you know? And you had that experience with Sinners. When I saw Sinners, I hadn't seen anything, but I did that on purpose. Right? So I didn't know anything about the zombies, the vampires, none of that. All of that was just hitting me like, oh, what? What? He just bit the guy in the neck. What? What is this movie? It was just a ride. You know what I'm saying? It just takes
Yeah.
you on a ride.
It That yeah, they yeah, even the what I can't remember the actor's name, and I feel bad that I can't, but the one who played the like the head vampire, I thought and he was amazing. Very I think it was like he you could tell he played that role really well. It's like he's very kind of charming in a way to
Yeah,
them. But the scariest part I think about it was the fact that like I spoiler alert, but it was the way he was confident in the fact that he knew that they would get into that, get in there, and it's just like it was just creative. I sat there watching it. I haven't seen a film like that before. Honestly, like, we've been getting a lot of movies the past couple of years, but I feel like it was new. It was a fresh take on the whole vampire, I story and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool. And they really Ryan Coogler, phenomenal director. It was amazing how he was able to do that. Um,
yeah. Have
I'm
you
excited
seen
to see
any?
more. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. Did you see any of the behind the scenes stuff? There's this one rig where Michael B. Jordan has the cameras all the way around him, and he just has this rig on, and it's all these
Yeah, that was
cameras,
so cool. That
and
was how
that's the
they
way
did the
he
whole
interacts with the other twin. When they had that fight, right?
right.
There's a lot of physical interaction between the twins. We developed what we call the Halo rig, and that's a harness that has a ring of 10 or sometimes 12 cameras. That allowed us to use his head performance, not just the face, and put that on the stunt double.
Yeah, man. But it's like even the vision of Kugler to say, okay, here's how we're gonna shoot this. Here's how we're gonna capture this moment. You know, the only other time I seen something like that was I saw Will Smith. He was in a movie and he had the gun and had the cameras all around him. So he's moving like this. This, it looks like,
Bad Boys, yeah.
yeah, that looked awesome.
That was
I,
so cool.
yeah, that was, it's just the behind the scenes of some of this stuff. It's just mind blowing what we can do now,
Yeah,
right?
it's especially now I mean, we got what AI now too kind of coming up, and that's just changing the whole process,
Yeah,
um, and now it's just kind of like now we're kind of integrating it into movie making, and yeah, that's something that's still new, but
yeah.
it's evolving fast.
How's that going to work for what you do? How is AI going to affect your job?
Oh. Hopefully not too much, but I don't get hate for it. I'm sort of like I'm not anti AI. I do use it, but I use it more as a tool, and I don't want to use it to fully. I don't think right now. I don't think it can fully replace our job completely. I hope speeds it up and speeds up what we do. But I feel like eventually it might get to the point where it might start affecting jobs in that way. Um,
Yeah,
It does, but I would say it helps in like directing, especially if you have like, say you have a writer you're talking to and they have a vision. You can sort of type up, okay, I see it this way, and it can kind of generate that image. I've
right.
used it like that, going like, okay, hey, what do you think of this? Cool, that's exactly how I see it. And then I can create, and I can kind of then take that and go like, okay, now we can make this into, a film. And that's kind of how I use AI in that aspect.
Yeah, literally. You can use your phone to do most things now,
Yeah.
right?
It's
All
yeah.
right. I got another stunt double question before we move
Yeah.
on, right?
Yeah.
So when you guys are choreographing your fights, it's like a dance, right?
Right.
The times that I've worked with stunt guys in movies, they're showing me the dance and they're showing the opposing actor the dance. Okay, you're gonna turn your head like this, etc. Right? Is any of that ever scripted? That whole choreography thing.
Right. So a recent me and my friends, we actually just shot some choreography for a concept I had. Um pretty much what I did is that we scripted the beginning and the end. So where we want that end beat to be, or that first beat to be, like how it starts off and then the end. And pretty much we treat it as in getting from point A to point B. Um, but we try to make it make sense. So I had one of my other friends come and help me out, and he's done a lot of stunts as well. So he was able to help me kind of work with the concept that I had. And he kind of goes about, because like you said, it's a dance, but you don't sometimes want to make it look like it was choreographed. So some stuff, how he would have it is that he has the person run at me. They throw a punch. They can throw a punch however they would, and then I would react how would I react if someone's throwing a punch at me? Would I parry? Would I dodge? That kind of thing. And we started off just kind of playing around. Cool. We have people around me. Come at me. One person comes at me. Cool. I'll move you and just kick you. Another person comes at me. And we look back at it. Cool. That works. I don't like that. And then we build off of that. So yeah, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
It does make sense. What I was going to ask you was, okay, because the characters are different. So when you say, okay, somebody throw a punch at me, I would move like this or turn like this. But
Right.
that character may not know how to fight. Do y'all take
Exactly.
that into consideration and say, okay, well, this guy's just going to get hit in the face because,
Yeah, we'll take that into consideration.
okay,
So when we did the one fight that we did recently was everyone's pretty skilled, but if it's like one person in a fight, okay, cool. Um, you don't know how to throw a punch, so it's just be kind of like I'm just gonna have you just swing. And I'm just gonna like catch it, boom, you'll go down. But we work as a beat, so everything's kind of like a beat when it comes to, at least for the hero person that's acting. Like when I'm fighting, I have to think about the beats. Okay, first comes here, 1, 2, 3. It's kind of like a dance, but for me, it's like music in a way. So I got like a beat in my head
right,
while I'm doing it, and it helps me kind of remember. Um, but yeah, I would say that's pretty much how it works. But yeah, I would explain to that person, hey, if they're fairly new, they don't, I'll give them like a simple thing like, hey, I'm gonna run at you, and I'll show them how they're gonna come at me. They're gonna hit me, or I'll have you just hit here, and I'm just gonna push you. Just go back.
right. I understand. It's like,
Um,
it's sort of like the way they do with dancing.
yeah, yeah.
They work out all of those things.
I had one role I did as a stunt guy for this film, and we were all in tuxes. And this was the first time where we had to, the director was like, "Hey, we're gonna have you guys fight." Um, and we're kind of like, "Okay, do you have a choreography? Do you have someone that's gonna teach choreography?" He was like, "No, I'm gonna have you guys come up with it." I'm
Right,
like, "Okay, cool," and the challenge was we don't have a lot of space. So now you're fighting in a very small amount of space. So you have like this person next to you. So there's only so much you can do.
hmm,
So that was something that I would say was probably the challenge for me. Is like, okay, now I gotta, we did the choreography, we practiced outside, but now we gotta do it in here, minimal space. And that was definitely because at times, you don't want to hit the other person. So accidents happen, but when you have this person here, if that person forgets the choreo, and then at one where a foot went past my head, and I'm like, whoa. But it's kind of you have to keep acting, even if you forget. Just keep doing emotions, and that was something that we had to do. Is kind of like, okay, even if we forget, let's just keep going until we remember. And that was something that I had learned, because
right,
you'll forget moves sometimes, but even if they're only seeing for a brief second, it does matter because you'll be in the background. People will see you.
right. And then you guys are the ones that know the secret. I mean, you know the dance. So you
Yeah.
want them to continue because they're like, hey, we may be able to use a lot of this.
Right.
And then we'll do another take. Right.
Yeah.
I know Ryan Gosling was talking about in Hail Mary, he wanted to be clumsy and not know what to do in the spaceship because he's like, well, I'm not an astronaut, you know, I'm a teacher. And he's like, that's how I want to play it. You know, I'm a guy that is in this environment
So
as
cool.
opposed to a guy that has mastered this environment.
Right.
Right.
Oh, that's
So when you guys were talking about, okay, um, you know, this guy is in a fight scene. Well, this particular character may not know how to fight, but this other guy does. So his movements are going to be different than the other guy's movements in the fight. And it's like that's something people may not think that stunt guys have to consider the script and understand even the characters when they're doing stunts for them.
as you get, hey, you're a bad guy, you're a good guy, you know, and they'll tell you who wins, who doesn't, and you just, you know, if you don't get the choreo, you just got to figure out. That's when they go like, hey, all right, we're gonna have you guys figure out, you know, create the choreo. Cool. And that was something that was, yeah, that was fun though. At the same time,
That sounds
Spe-
great.
especially when I working, you know, I was working with someone that we had done stunt stuff before previously, so it helped out a lot that we kind of both worked with each other before, so we could just quickly come up with something. And yeah,
Yeah,
and
that sounds great. It just sounds like you're just having fun, you know, because when kids are, you know, young, they're making up, they're choreographing, they're making up
yeah,
stuff to do. You know,
yeah,
I know me and my brother, and we'll play football in the streets. And, you know, you make up a play. You say, okay, you know, you hide it with your hands. Okay. You know, you're talking to the guy. Look, so you're going to run down there like this, make a left. And if he doesn't know how to play football, he's going to point to it, you know, so everybody can see him, right? Oh, you want me to go down there and go this way? Well, now they know which way you're going to go. I got to change the play. All right. So then you take your hand. It's like, all right, you're going to go this way. You're going to do this. But that's all choreography. You know what I'm saying?
right,
It's,
yeah.
you know, it's kids making this world, whether it's shooting, fighting, hide and go seek, you know, I mean, whatever it is, you know, you do that, and now you found a way to do it in a professional way.
Still get to play as a kid a little bit.